Hi, hello there, Steve.
How's everything?
Everything is good.
Wonderful. We'll see how Anthony's doing.
Yeah. He said he was coming.
Yes. Well,
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Hey, Anthony, you made it.
Hi, hello. Good morning.
We got sound?
I hear you.
I'm late. I was trying to click on last week's meeting.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm very high tech.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, it was. You guys both weren't there, apparently.
Well, I guess perhaps that's truer than believed.
Oh, yeah. Good morning. Nice to see you both.
Yes.
Nice to see you.
Good morning and good evening.
Yes.
There may be someone else. Someone has asked for the link, so we'll see if they're able to make it.
Cool. Nice background you got there, Steve. Very nice.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah, I like the last one too. The river was nice too.
Well, it's nothing like the way things are here.
Right.
Actually, the weather here has been gorgeous.
Yeah, right.
It's the way San Diego can get in the fall and early winter.
It's the best time of year for us too.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. In the whole country, fall is the best.
Okay.
Or autumn, we call it here. Yeah, it's not too hot. It's not cold. It's just everything's calmer. The energy is calmer. That summer energy is just flattened out, and it's just the waters are really warm.
Yeah.
The sea's warm. It's just it's beautiful.
Yes. It's nice that it's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. What's it like for you, Lisbeth? What's the weather like where you are?
Over here, it's rainy.
All right.
And clouded.
All right.
Will you get some snow?
No, winters with snow are very rare here.
Okay. Well, this slide or this video has some snow in it, but not too much.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, the weather just here was just showing a whole lot of lightness everywhere. Even at the ocean, looking over the bluff at a place called Swami's in Encinitas. It's a popular surfing spot. The sky was clear. The sun was out. And the ocean was just sparkling. And everything just felt light and easy and effortless. for no one, just there, just as it is. Even the heavy snows that people are getting in the US around New York area, 6 or 7 feet that has to be moved, or it'll crush, it might crush the roof. It sounds very heavy. It sounds like very heavy stuff. But even that, when it's seen on the news, even that has a lightness about it. Which again makes sense from the standpoint of quantum mechanics, which talks about atoms and molecules having a whole lot of space within them, so that the physical objects, in a sense, are scientifically empty in a way. They end up having a measurable weight, and yet they're filled with a lot of open space. So somehow the physical world is light and heavy, apparently. Even the body has a physical weight. And at least here, it can almost feel weightless. So there's an apparent lightness and an apparent weight, which is all just apparent, apparently. Apparently oneness and wholeness is also lightness, emptiness, effortlessness. Just the way that it is. Perfectly fine the way that it is. And it could care less whether it weighs anything or not. Whether it's effortful or not. It's just that judger, that worrier that's concerned about all that, what is doesn't have any concerns about anything. It's perfectly fine with everything. Something may change for no reason, and that's perfectly fine too. And the effort on the part of humans to find meaning provides some solace at some level for human beings, but the need for meaning is not important for the nameless or the one beyond meaning. It just is. and everything works as it does for it. It's just the way it is. So how does that sound? Simple enough?
Mm. Almost too simple.
Until it's seen how complex it can be.
Mhm.
Even a simple appearing tree
Mm.
it's apparently simple, and at the same time it's seen to be complex in its simplicity. As a living organism that grows, makes seeds, which produce more trees, become simple and complex organisms as they grow. The same with everything living. From the simplest organisms to the apparently more complex ones. Like we humans like to think about our complexity. And how we are somehow apparently high on the scale of evolution. And yet we have all these difficulties for one reason or another, that even the complexity of the human body is somehow challenged by difficulties. Until it's seen that there really is no one with difficulties. That the one that believes it has the difficulties is not really even there.
Difficulty can still be there, right? Kind of.
The difficulties that were termed difficult when someone was there may still arise.
Mm.
This time they just arise.
Mm.
Just like high tide.
Mm.
High tide arises a couple times a day, various times during the year. It may become difficult for who happens to live on the beach or near the beach, or it may not.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And in any case, if the waves are too big in the ocean, perhaps one wouldn't go swimming, or if there was swimming, perhaps it would be just aware of the size of the waves and what is necessary to be there with those waves.
Like the physical aspect, the apparent physical aspect of the waves, hitting your thumb with a hammer, anything could still be exactly the same. The same physicalness is exactly the same. It's just no one there taking it or adapting it into a personal thing, but it's still exactly the same in the initial physicality.
Yes. A smashed thumb will hurt.
Yeah.
In one case, that hurt may turn into a real ordeal for the owner of the thumb. In another case, it just may be, oops, that hurts, and move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
The world is physical. It's very physical. Apparently, there's a lot of interaction with the apparent physical world. The body is physical in a way, in its way. And it feels temperature. It feels the wind, all that, all the different aspects of nature are still there. The body responds as it responds. Goosebumps, heavy breathing, luxuriating in the warm sunlight.
It's easy, Steve, I find anyway, it's a lot easier to see no one being there on the physical aspect. Like we were just saying, there's a body and it just does things. And anyone can see that things are happening without you, like your hair growing, no one doing that. So that's kind of quite obvious when you look at it, if you look at it. But emotional, mental, the interpreter who interprets something, something is said, then there's a feeling about that, or you find that something is said and you like that. Or in other words, so there's sort of feelings that are somehow brought about. It's more difficult to see how those feelings and emotions don't belong to someone, that they're just happening on their own, compared to, like you say, the body in pain. Well, yeah, okay, that's just a bunch of nerves doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that personal interpretation that turns itself into feelings and emotions, that's kind of a weird one.
Yes. that happens, that happens when someone is there doing it. There are times when no one is there, brief moments when no one is there. And it's not often recognized that no one's there. The identity, the self, is quick to take its position. So that's just the way that it operates. That's all it knows how to do, is to take ownership of everything.
Like laughter is a weird thing to me. Animals don't laugh though. They get excited and do things like that, and trees don't laugh. But this unique thing about humans, crying and laughing, which is two extremes, but laughing is such a, it's just like, what is that? And what's behind that? It's like, to think, it's really hard to imagine that. Like, you can imagine a robot, there's no one there, wouldn't laugh. But humans laugh, and it's really weird to think there's no one there. Laughing is just happening. You're like, for no one. Well, it wouldn't be funny if someone wasn't, if there was no one there to interpret what's being said to make it laugh, there wouldn't be laughter. Do you know what I mean?
There is laughter for no one. There is laughter for no one. It's just a response to life. Just a response to what's happening. In the world of what is, which includes everything, that includes funny, comical, entertaining, lightheartedness, lightness. So there is laughter for no reason, for no body, for no one. For nothing. It's just life responding, or what is responding to what is. There's laughter among friends. Often the laughter has no subject to it, no reason for it. It just happens. So there is laughter when there's no one. There can be crying when there is no one. There can be tiredness or even impatience when there's no one. There's when there is no one, there is everything. There's no limit. When there is a separate one, somehow there are limits for that separate self.
If there's something, Steve, if you're, say, for example, enjoying something, and you would think that naturally there would be the desire to continue enjoying something because it's enjoyable, as opposed to painful or difficult. You know, this seems to be a natural tendency to prefer comfort than discomfort. It's just seems to be a natural thing. And just expanding that further, you know, I'm asking you this as a, not you, but I'm asking this where there is no one.
Yeah.
So whilst your body's still here, is there any does there arise any sadness that this won't continue, that this life won't, as a body, that it will end and not continue, that it'll be over? Do you know what I mean? That this isn't, you know, I'm going to miss this. That's probably the best. Is there no sense that I'm going to miss this when I'm not here? So hard to ask that question.
Yes. Yes. So there's smiling and some laughter.
Yeah. Apparently. Who's that?
Yeah. So it's different here. It's Steve used to be concerned and affected and used to feel what he apparently felt about a limited life, a limited lifespan, or now that's just not here. It's not the same. There's not a sense of limitation. There's not even a sense of death. There's just a sense that there's a sense of life. There's a sense of okayness, or there's a sense of continuing. There's a sense of flowing. There's a sense of endlessness. A sense
amazing.
that this is endless, that there is no death, that there is no birth, there's no start, no end. It's just continuous, continuous. And this that continues is just wonderfully okay. The continuation of this endless this is wonderfully, it's just wonderfully okay. It's just everything about it is just great. It's just, again, we're talking on the horizon where words just
Yeah.
are just really useless. They don't communicate what's really there. But there definitely is no fear of death like Steve might have had. Just none of that. It's the connection. It's when the separation ends,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's seen that everything is full.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is full. It's complete. It's
It's never been able to be put in words by anyone, has it? This what you're
never.
talking about. Never
Well,
been able to put it.
Yeah, even the most eloquently stated description, it does not
Mhm.
do it justice. It does not communicate what is
Mhm.
beyond words. It does not communicate everything that is beyond words. And the change from communicator to what is huge. No comparison. It's just huge. And at the same time, it's very simple.
Mhm.
Very simple. It's like can happen in the snap of a finger. This huge change that's hugely simple.
Mhm.
And there is absolutely no interest in returning to separation.
It's funny you say that. It's really funny you say that, because this morning I had laughed to myself thinking, there's non-duality channels and people seeking and asking questions about this no self.
Yeah.
But there's no channels where there's people where there's the cases of people where there's no selves seeking to become, how can I become a me again in reverse, like reverse non-duality. Yeah, yes, there's a path. If you do this, you can become a me, you can become separate.
There's just no interest. There's no benefit. There's no interest in returning to separation.
Yeah.
There's no benefit to that for anyone, anytime. It's absolutely without benefit. There's no use for it. And yet it's such a big it's such a big thing.
Yeah.
The separation is such a big thing for the separate ones.
Would it even be possible? Steve. That wouldn't be possible, right? For that to become Steve again. Like that's in my mind, that seems to be that wouldn't be something possible. Otherwise, there'd be someone who could step in and step out.
Well, this can only speak for this, really, because this is the only one that's this is the only one with this seeing. So this is what is seen. Okay. So there's absolutely no interest or curiosity or need, or not even any seeing that would be looking at that. It's just that's the way it is here. And so that's all that this can speak about.
As you said, I think you said last week or the week before, there's no tears over the loss of Steve,
No, but Steve had a handful of tears. Steve had his tearful moments.
Yeah,
right. Even this has had tears. Different. They're different. They were tears of more of happiness than difficulty. Tears of happiness. They were just an expression of some kind of happiness.
Yeah, I felt I've had that.
Yeah, in a physical way.
Yeah,
but this was talking with somebody in the neighborhood today, who was talking about the weather and how nice it's been, and it said, the neighbor said, well, how much would you pay for this weather? And then the neighbor looked and said, it's priceless. It's priceless. So it's just, we spend so much time talking about this, and communicating. And in fact, it's often said that this communication is for no one. It's just an attempt to get close, or to describe something that's indescribable. But what's being described is infinite. It's infinite. It's that infinite is a word that describes something beyond somehow beyond description. And humans all have a certain feeling about infinity because of that word. It's just so different when it's seen, when it's just really seen for what it is, in its simplicity. In its simplicity and its apparent reality, or its apparent predictability, its apparent solidity, its apparent reliability. And those words just go out the window. They just go out the window as soon as they're said.
Yeah.
There's something unreliable about
Yeah.
reliable. There's something unpredictable about predictable. There's something indescribable about describable. So this is not interested in communicating from the standpoint of offering something wonderful. There's really, it's often said, there's nothing on offer. There's nothing being offered. And it's the nothing part. And it's the nothing part that's being offered. So all this talk is about offering nothing. So there's not a feeling here of like being helpful to people, benefiting people, uplifting people. That's part of the separation that needs all that. Really, in a sense, there's nothing to be communicated. There's no one communicating. And yet somehow there is a kind of it's kind of an interest that is behind the communication. It's just, it's not a idea like of helping people. It's not an idea. There's just somehow, there's just some kind of an interest that is behind this communication. That's all it is. It's not known where it comes from. It's not known who's behind it or what's behind it. It's just coming from what is. Somehow that's what's happening.
Several of the other speakers say this, exactly the same thing. You know, this is a communication from no one to no one about nothing, and there's nothing to offer. And of course it's going to be like that. And because anything that is offered becomes a teaching for the me, for the deluded me that thinks it's real. And in anything that's said in that under that umbrella is going to be self-supporting that delusion, because it's saying, it's talking to the delusion. And so, you know, and that, I mean, that's a very clearly heard here, that, you know, this has to be, funnily enough, there's only an interest now in nothing for the me. It'd be like if there was someone addressing the me, I'd be out of screen that quickly. Somehow that intellectually that game's over. You know, what seems to be happening for me this week, or not this week, but probably in the last couple of weeks maybe, is there seems to be an end of the story, end of the game, end of it's just come to an end. The seeking the questions. I know I'm asking questions here, but it's just an interesting. But the seriousness of questioning, the yeah, but what if, the real seeking. It seems to be just put down now and just like, yeah, okay, fine, understood. I'll carry on. It's almost like I was looking for something that I didn't know what I was looking for, and I live on a big property, and someone comes up to me and says, oh, look, there's some treasure over there. You didn't know about it, but this is what you've really been looking for. And they give me all these pointers. They're going along, and I find this treasure, and I find it, and it's buried under this massive big mountain boulder. And I go, right, I find it, I can see what it is, but I can't get to it. But I know it's there, and I can see it's there, and I accept that. And the only way that it could be got would be if a massive earthquake moves this boulder. In other words, I can't do it. It's got nothing to do with me. So I go, right, game over. Now I'll walk away and carry on doing whatever I was doing. That's what it seems to be where this is at now. It's like, heard, seen, got it. No one here, nothing more I can do about that. I've got no more questions. I just carry on doing whatever. But there's some little sort of knowing that there's nothing else to look for. And in that understanding, the meaning and purpose of what the meaning and the purpose of whatever I do moving forward, whilst it might appear the same, there's just no meaning and purpose in it, because there's an understanding of what's been pointed to. That's what seems to be happening here.
That will happen. That will, the me will do what it does.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it works somehow to be in an environment, just to be in an environment where oneness talks.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was part of Steve's story also, that the me went through changes as it did, and that they were just seen as they happened until they didn't happen somehow. So somehow it works just to be in a oneness environment. In your situation, you're only able to talk a certain time a week and a certain amount a day. The story here was that it was helpful to be in a very intense environment where there was a lot of there were a lot of meetings in a condensed period of time. That seemed to be helpful here. It may be difficult for you to do that with your schedule. And at the same time, for others, it happens differently. Again, this only has the experience of this. And this has heard that a falling away of sorts can happen anytime, anywhere. It can happen over a period of time, or it can be a one shot deal, and one shot and it's gone. Since it's not there anyway, and it's never been there, there's not even a change that happens.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's just yeah, I know, that's weird, isn't it?
Yes, it's
hilarious in a way.
so apparently there is no me, and there never has been a me. So there doesn't need to be a me. It appears. And then at some point, there is no me. Somehow. It could happen after a laugh. It could happen getting in your car. It could happen eating pumpkin pie.
I think it would definitely happen if I was eating pumpkin pie.
Yeah, it's it happens as it happens to itself. And then the talking changes. Talking changes totally. Because there's no longer the talker. It's just talking.
One thing that I found interesting with my talking, if if someone says anything that would be usually taken as a credit, you know, crediting you of doing something, or seen as an achievement by the person or anything like that, for a while now, I found it really quite difficult to and very genuinely difficult to take any credit for anything, because, you know, like someone would say, oh, you know, oh, it's great that you don't drink or smoke, and you know, you look after your health, and that's good, you know, you have lots of benefits, or some. I'm just trying to give an example off the top of my head, but I'm like, well, that's just the luck of the draw. There's no, it wasn't me doing that. It wasn't my choice to choose to not like alcohol, or to choose to not like smoking. I wasn't there behind that. That's got nothing to do with me. So you know, whereas is in the world of me's, they're like, oh, good on you. You made a really good choice not to do that. And you made a good. So even on that level of understanding that there's no one there behind anything, you know, I found it quite difficult for a long time now to be on the receiving end of any credit, or at the same time judging anyone else. It's just, I don't know. That's in my story what seems to be happening a little bit.
Yeah.
Come on, Lisbeth, you're there. I'm doing all the talking here. It's not. Right now, you guys talk. I don't want to talk anymore.
You look good with a beard.
Oh, very good. I thought you were going to say it's the best thing you've said all night. Funny.
Yeah.
It's good.
There is no one. There is no one to take credit. There's no one to be credited. There just is no one.
I think that's amazing. What do you think when you hear that, Lisbeth? I mean, to me, that's just the understanding, even that there's no one here, is just so fantastic. It's so relieving and so beautiful and profound, and it's like, oh man, that's just the best news ever. Yeah. But for like some people will be like, oh my God, no, no, I'm here. No, that's terrible news. I'm like, oh, what better thing could be pointed to that you actually. That's how I hear it.
Yeah, well, these last few days I've been contemplating on universal love, and well, what is, since there is no picker or chooser, there is nothing that would be picked or chosen, no one, no thing over the other. So it's all what is. Yeah.
Yes. And it's okay.
And it's okay.
There's a feeling of there is a feeling that everything is just simply okay the way it happens to be. Even the worst things, there is somehow, there's the horrible things that are happening in Ukraine,
Mhm.
the horrible leader of the country that's attacking Ukraine. It's such, in a sense, such horror, deeply horrible stuff, painful. That's also part of everything.
Mhm.
And it's not said in the sense of diminishing the horror. It's just it's something that comes out of the separation. It's something that comes up with humans out of the separation.
Mhm.
And at the same time, what is separation too. And once there's no longer separation, that horror doesn't come up. It doesn't come up. It's so it can be said that that non-duality might or very likely change the behavior of human beings. Certainly here, there's no interest in horror. It seems to be something that just comes with separation. And once there's no longer separation, that horror may not arise so much.
Mhm.
There's a lot that happens in separation that's it's not here anymore. It's no longer here. There was when Steve was here, he had his issues and his difficulties, his problems. So since there's no longer a his, nothing really is a problem. There's no one to be troubled with problems. Things come up, they get taken care of, and then other things come up they get taken care of. Everything gets taken care of without problems.
Mhm.
Even a tree out there that maybe catches on fire. You know, San Diego, California gets a lot of wildfires, so trees burn. Some of them will die. Some of them will regrow disfigured. Some of them won't be affected. And yet the fire has had an effect. The forest looks the way that it looks after a fire. And then things keep growing. At some point, the forest will regrow. Yeah. You know, it's actually many plants here in California are, they've evolved with fire. So many depend on fire for their life cycle to make seeds and regrow. So that's not a problem. That's just the way the plant is. Living beyond words is really different. It's very different from the way Steve used to live.
Mhm.
Things just seem to get taken care of on their own in a way. This may be doing it, but this isn't Steve anymore. This isn't the employee or the business owner or the therapist or whatever you want to, whatever name is given. It's not descriptive of what is. It's just a name that means something to someone, but it's not really what is. What is beyond description, beyond categories, beyond names. And it's always been there. It will always be there. Endlessly. Truth, well, we are all actually what is. We are all actually life. Even though we have separate bodies with different names, it's all 8 billion, apparently, of us are life. In a sense, we are all 8 billion of us, one life, the oneness of life. not 8 billion separate lives. So how can something be so big, so huge, that it can be living everything? And not have a name? And that's just on Earth. Those little pictures of the sun with the teeny little planets in front of it, our solar system planets, that's just one solar system. And have you heard? Apparently we're about 25,000 light years from the center of the galaxy. 25,000 light years from the Earth to the black hole in the center of the galaxy. And we can never get there. We cannot travel. At this point, we cannot travel within our lifetime anywhere near the center of the galaxy. And that's just one galaxy.
It's just one galaxy, yeah.
Yeah, and it's said that there are trillions of separate galaxies. And we're on this teeny little planet that's wonderful in its completeness, that supports all the life here on this planet, and it's just a little speck of dust in the universe, or the megaverse, or whatever verse is out there. And yet everything's taken care of.
It's amazing, isn't it? Mind-blowing when you start thinking of that space level, on that space level and scale. It's like
Yeah.
I actually heard one scientist, it was a while ago, I was listening to some scientist program, and he was talking about the micro at the small, it's quantum, right down to the quantum physics scale.
Yes.
And right out to the expansion scale. And the human, the physical human, is in the middle of that scale. So it's taking this body as being the medium point of an object. So right down to the smallest quantum nothing particle. And if you had a line and said, right, that's the nothingness there, and then out here is, putting it in the screen, out here is the edge of space, the human body is right there in the middle. This is quite interesting. But we are the center of the universe.
Actually, life is very complex at the human level. That what is, or wholeness, does the human body a certain way. It somehow has, you might say it's cooked up chemically from the standpoint of chemistry, a special kind of there is a special kind of chemistry going on there, starting with more basic life forms and then becoming more complex with the human body. It's a different kind of chemistry that life utilizes. And that perhaps at some other point will develop a different way. It's something that apparently is keeps changing. And again, there are aspects of the human body that are beyond explanation. Just like everything else. Science understands what it understands about how the body works. And at the same time, the body also is part of the science that doesn't understand. So there are quantum mechanical aspects to the human body. This is a homeopath. Have you heard that term? So even in homeopathy, there are researchers that look to explain how homeopathy works from the standpoint of quantum mechanics. And there was a paper recently, maybe it was in 2019, by a couple of Italian scientists who said that they were coming from the standpoint of quantum wave theory, basically saying that the human body has got a wave function or a vibration. You know, a wave function is like a sine wave, this wobbly sine wave. So apparently, from the standpoint of homeopathy, there's each body has a wave function, and that if that wave function gets mistuned, that leads to illness. So that's just one example of how what's unknown in science is also unknown about the human body, where what's apparently reality appears to be metaphysical. But science is reluctant to use that word. Well, Lisbeth, what else are you looking at?
I was just thinking about the fact that I've also had an interest in homeopathy, and
Oh, you have?
yeah, for many years.
Okay. Well, it's it's something that here in the States, it's very controversial.
Mhm.
It's something that's more common in different countries, and it seems to be very common in Europe.
Maybe a little bit more, but yeah. When you talk about it, or yeah, people act strangely, or they don't
Yeah.
know what it is, or they don't understand.
Yes.
I've have a son, and he's 16 now, and we never let him have any traditional medicine, or
Okay.
even when he was a baby or a little child, when there were the typical, baby and diseases and stuff like that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, it's somehow the interest here and for Steve in the past has been more in the metaphysical realm, and so even in the realm of science, the interest has been more in what science doesn't know,
Mhm.
because there's so much out there. And we talk about oneness from the standpoint of being infinite. How could it be known? Just from its nature of infiniteness, how could it be known ever? And yet it gets explained, or it gets understood here and there, and much of that understanding is put to use, being helpful to people, or not. Some of it's not helpful, but and at the same time, the more that science seems to understand, the more it sees it doesn't. And that's always been an interest here. How could that be? And then now it's seen that that life is essentially that way, infinite and beyond explanation.
Mhm.
I'm just looking for something. 1 second. Where is that? It was just something that you said there, Steve, that I had this quote was exactly that. Now, of course, I can't find it.
Are you looking for something?
Yeah, I am. It was just exactly what you said, and it's one of my favorite little things. It was about what you said about how could you possibly know everything? Like, it's impossible to know everything, which is what oneness is. Can't be known. But this is one of my favorite little quotes, which is exactly that. I'll see if I can put it on the screen. That's going to release. That's not.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Oh, yes, got to unlearn everything.
Yeah. Like you can't, like it's just impossible to you can't. It's the end. It is the end of knowing, because it's everything. We can't even understand that meaning. Everything. It's that just everything. It's
Yes.
and like what you were saying before about the wars in Ukraine and all that sort of thing. It all happens, but everything can't pick and choose and separate itself. Everything includes everything.
Yeah.
There's no everything. Oh, but not war. No. There's everything.
Yes.
Can't pick the cherries off. Everything is either everything or there's nothing.
Yes. So it can't be learned. It can't be learned.
No.
And it can be seen.
Because even learning requires a separation, because learning requires a learner.
Yes.
There's no separation in everything. I can kind of intellectually get that a little bit. It's like this. It just everything is just one. That's it.
Yes. Yes, it's quite simple. It's quite simple if you're not there. If you are there, then it's usually complicated.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely here.
Okay.
Well, apparently, I'm definitely here.
Yeah. Yes. You believe it.
Crazy.
Until you don't. Well, I don't feel any more words coming, or let's say this is not feeling more words coming. Are there any other questions? So Lisbeth, are you going to go to the woods?
Yeah, I hope so tomorrow, maybe for a walk before it's going to rain.
Okay.
Maybe in the morning.
Do you walk in the rain?
Sometimes, yeah.
With the raincoat, umbrella?
I prefer a raincoat rather than an umbrella.
If you live in a rainy or a snowy environment, this used to live up in Northern California, and rather than stay inside during the rainy weather, many people up there would just go for walks with rain gear. They'd go up in the mountains with rain gear on. And so people could get outside, outdoors, and it actually, from this standpoint, it became fun to walk in the rain.
It has something about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I also like, I have a little porch here in the garden, and or have a cup of tea, listening to the rain. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, that person that asked for a link must have had something else to do. Maybe watching the championships, like Anthony has an interest in. So how's the team doing?
Sorry, did you say how's the team doing?
Yeah. How's that
Yeah.
team doing?
It's not a team. I was watching the darts.
Darts?
Yeah. But because it's always in it's mainly in Europe or the UK.
Are you a dart thrower?
Yeah.
Oh,
So the competitions there's a few through the year. The big ones are usually either in Europe or thing. And so the time frames for me are they either start at midnight, or occasionally they can have an afternoon session that starts early in the morning, like this,
okay.
where they're doing early evening. I can do early morning, and then I can get to watch the odd one live. So occasionally I'll watch it live. Otherwise, I just watch it on a replay. But that was one of the big Grand Slams. It was on last week, so I got to watch it, which was good.
Okay. So it's not soccer, it's darts.
Yeah.
Okay. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, well, if you guys are interested in continuing, we'll do another one next Saturday. Does that sound okay?
Yep, sounds okay to me.
And we'll see if we can get some more people
Yeah.
interested. And I was going to ask you, so on the video backgrounds that are used, are some of them difficult for you guys to look at? They make you dizzy? Do they make you dizzy?
There was only one of yours
Yeah.
a while ago that I found difficult to look at, and it was only one of them. And I think, what's that?
For me as well, but I'm curious. For me, it was the eyes.
Oh, yes. You didn't like it?
The same. Okay. That's it for me. It was. I was going to say the blue one, but it was the eyes. That was the only one I was like, oh, yeah, that was the only one.
Okay.
That's funny.
Okay. That's good.
Too many eyes.
That's good to know. Okay. Well, thank you, you guys. And we'll do it again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Yeah. All right.
Bye
Thank you. Have a great day, week.
Okay. You guys too.
All right,
bye-bye.
bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.